What's up, Patriots Nation? Get ready, because tomorrow is game day. The New England Patriots take the field against the Washington Commanders, and this is our first real look at how the team is shaping up for the new season. The preseason is kicking off strong, and let's be honest, there's a lot of excitement in the air. The roster's packed with hungry young talent, and with Elliott Wolf running things behind the scenes, there's real reason to believe we're building something solid. If you believe in this team and can't wait to see the Patriots in action, smash that like button and drop a comment below. Which player are you most excited to watch tomorrow? I've got my own picks, but let's get straight to it. What in the world is going on in Foxborough? Just days before their first preseason clash against the Washington Commanders, the New England Patriots have dropped a depth chart that feels more like a smokescreen than a strategy. It's being labeled as unofficial, but Patriots fans, let me tell you, it's more confusing than ever. And if you're like me, you're asking one burning question: have the Patriots' own PR staff even been watching training camp? Let's start with the most laughable part. Cole Strange was listed as the starting left guard. Yeah, that Cole Strange, the one who hasn't taken a first-team rep in over 5 practices. Meanwhile, Jarrod Wilson has been an absolute rock at that position all throughout camp. Every insider, every practice observer, every tweet from guys like Carlos Lopez and Hayden Wallace, they're all saying the same thing. Wilson has not only earned the job, he's dominated the competition. From day one of camp, he has consistently held that left guard spot. Even when center Garrett Bradbury went down, Wilson didn't slide over to cover. No, he stayed planted at LG. While Ben Brown took the center reps, that tells you everything. The coaching staff clearly sees Wilson as their guy. So why on earth is Cole Strange still being listed there? It feels more like a nod to tenure than a reflection of reality. And this isn't an isolated case of nostalgia for veterans. Let's talk running backs. Antonio Gibson being listed as RB2 behind Rhamondre Stevenson sounds logical until you actually look at the reps. Trayvon Henderson, folks, is turning heads in every single session. This guy's not just impressive, he might be the most dynamic offensive player in camp. First team reps, all his. Working directly with Maye? Yep, just in the last session alone, Henderson tallied 5 receptions, 3 receiving touchdowns, and a rushing TD. He's bringing back memories of the great Patriots pass-catching backs, James White, Shane Vereen, Dion Lewis. And Gibson? Nowhere to be found during those reps, so how does he end up slotted ahead of Henderson? It gets even more interesting when you factor in Stevenson's ongoing fumble issues. During Friday's scrimmage, another fumble slipped through his hands. If that trend continues, Henderson is not only a strong RB2 candidate, he could be the starter. And let's not forget, Henderson's skill set as a passing back fits perfectly into a system desperate to reintroduce versatility to its offensive schemes. Then there's the linebacker room, where another quiet but critical shift is unfolding. Christian Ellis is now leading the charge to line up next to Robert Spillane, who has been nothing short of a rock at Mike linebacker. With Jelani Tavai hurt, missing multiple sessions, and struggling to stay consistent, Ellis has seized the opportunity and likely locked down that second inside linebacker role. Remember, the Patriots matched an offer to keep Ellis in New England as a restricted free agent. That tells you just how highly they value him. Tavai, despite leading the team in tackles last year, could now be looking at a potential trade or depth role as the 2025 season approaches. And then comes the edge rush position. You ready for this? Keon White has officially claimed the starting role, and I'm going to take a little victory lap here because we called this one. Everyone said, what about Anfernee Jennings? He's the veteran. He's solid against the run. But in Mike Vrabel's evolving defensive system, you need more than just run stopping. You need pass rushing explosiveness. And Keon White has shown exactly that. Training camp has made it clear Jennings doesn't fit the mold of this new defense, and he's now fallen behind not just White, but also Harold Landry and Clavon Chaisson. That's a major fall, and it could cost Jennings his roster spot. Speaking of Chaisson, some fans expected him to be the starter opposite Landry. And it's true, he's been a camp breakout, but even he's sitting behind Keon White in the current pecking order. Now, how long that sticks, we'll have to see. But the writing's on the wall. Anfernee Jennings might be next on the chopping block. While we're on the topic of trenches, let's shift to the defensive tackles. No surprises here. Milton Williams and Christian Barmore are locked in as your starters, with Khyiris Tonga operating as the anchor at nose tackle. This unit is solid. In fact, this entire front 5 is shaping up to be downright scary. You pair Landry, White, Barmore, Williams, and Tonga, and you're staring down a defensive front that could crack the top 10 league-wide. Now, let's go to special teams, specifically the kicker battle. Andy Borgales versus John Parker Romo. This was neck and neck all camp. Both kickers have been flawless recently, hitting field goals up to 54 yards with ease. But here's the catch. Gonzalez was drafted. He's a 6th-round pick, and that matters. He's been just as accurate, if not more, and in the NFL, you don't spend draft capital on a kicker unless you plan to keep him. So, while Romo has been excellent, all signs point to Gonzalez being the guy when week 1 rolls around. Quarterback situation? Crystal clear. Drake Maye is QB1. Josh Dobbs is QB2. And Ben Wooldridge? He's on borrowed time. Expect him to land on the practice squad, but this team belongs to Maye and Dobbs. Now, wide receivers, this is where things get really murky. We're likely looking at a 7-man WR room. Diggs, Pop Douglas, and Kendrick Bourne are locked in. But Kendrick Bourne being slotted in at WR2? That's surprising, especially considering Kyle Williams, who's had an electric connection with Drake Maye, was expected to be higher on the chart. Bourne also got banged up in the scrimmage, so we'll have to watch his health. But someone who might not survive the final cuts? Don Chisholm. He's slipping down the chart fast, and that's a heartbreaker for fans who've rooted for him since minicamp. Tight ends? Clear cut. Hunter Henry and Austin Hooper are your top 2. Jim Bell is hanging around as TE3. But the Patriots currently have 6 TEs on the roster. That's not sustainable. Expect that group to be trimmed significantly. And on defense, some strong signs of consistency. Christian Gonzalez, Carlton Davis, and Marcus Jones are your cornerbacks. Marcellus Dial was behind Gonzalez, but after sustaining a knee injury, his status is up in the air. At safety, Kyle Duggar and Jabril Peppers are your leaders. But here's a little nugget to watch. Rookie Craig Woodson has been getting first-team reps over Duggar. Could be nothing, or it could be a bold signal of a youth movement in the making. All of this is happening with a joint practice against the Commanders coming up tomorrow and the preseason opener just around the corner. This depth chart may be labeled unofficial, but if you ask me, it's a treasure map to some major decisions, and maybe even some surprises, looming on cut day. So now I turn it over to you, Patriots Nation. Who's your starting left guard, Strange or Wilson? Who belongs as RB2, Gibson or Henderson? And is Keon White ready to become a household name on defense? Drop your takes in the comments and let's hear what you think. Rate the depth chart, grade the defense. Tell me which camp standout has won you over. Let's light it up. And as always, go Pats! Let's dig deeper into this wide receiver situation because it's quietly becoming one of the most important and potentially explosive storylines of Patriots camp. While fans are locked in on Drake Maye's development, the real magic will come from who he's throwing to, and the chemistry we're seeing in practice is starting to reveal some real surprises. Yes, Stephon Diggs is your WR1. That was never in doubt. But behind him, that's where things are getting spicy. Pop Douglas has been ultra-consistent and continues to be a reliable option in the slot, but it's Kendrick Bourne who's been given the WR2 tag. And here's the head-scratcher. Bourne, while a veteran with solid locker room presence, hasn't looked like a clear WR2 on the field during camp. He's coming off an injury, missed reps during the scrimmage, and hasn't had the same rhythm with Drake Maye that rookie Kyle Williams has established. Let's talk about Kyle Williams for a second, because Patriots fans, you might want to start paying close attention to number 83. He's been one of Drake Maye's go-to targets in nearly every